On my way home. A great horned owl sits in the window of a silo along the highway. The foundation of the barn is now rubble, its boards salvaged. My mother has scraped and painted the wood into plant stands. On the other side of the highway, flames chew clean to the steel skeleton of a sedan, its body barely identifiable. Firemen stand close with the hose, but no water comes through. There's no ambulance. The lake has recently frozen over. Yesterday, firemen gathered on it, jumped hard to collapse the shell and fell through. Each body tall in a black dry suit, then only a watery hole where they'd stood. The mother of one of the men watched in the snow beside me. Just then, my son was in biology class, but what he was learning about the body, I don't know. Preserving. I can spend a whole winter in the summer of these lemons if they're covered in enough salt. Trucks are salting the roads so I can drive. Men salt the earth so I can walk without falling. When I fall, I catch myself with my face. When I fall, I go to the hospital to make sure the baby is still alive. There are so many small things to worry about in a large way. How much coffee should I drink? For every bean ground, someone is having sex or a child is starving. How do I know? Because I'm always reading warning labels or watching children pick dandelions near the slide. Except they're never dandelions, but toads. And the children pick them up and throw them into the pond by the handful, believing they are frogs. And we can't blame them for not knowing what swims, what sinks, what floats. Controlled burn. The doe ran into the road, flipped over our hood, and dragged her back legs across the highway into woods. The same day, they were killing a man in Oklahoma who wouldn't die. They were deciding when to try again, and men in masks and bright orange suits set fire to the marsh, the burning flesh of milkweed and switchgrass. We are told to be fruitful. We are told to rejoice. The next day, a hospital bed is set up in the front room of the farmhouse, whose roof might collapse at any minute, as though the heavens are aware of the weight of a minute, as though each minute responds solely to the sky. It's illegal to follow an injured deer into woods with a gun, but is it okay to tell a child about heaven if you don't believe it exists? Yes, sing the chorus frogs, who'd burrowed into the heart of the marsh to escape the flames. No, hisses the body of a vole squashed flat, perfectly filling a crack in the blacktop. So this next poem is an ekphrastic poem. It's after a painting by John Wilde. He's a Wisconsin painter, and the title is the same as the title of the painting, which is in German. The title is Muss es sein, es muss sein, which translates to must it be, it must be. Muss es sein, es muss sein. Because the moon is a wafer bleeding beneath my tongue and the desert is still sleeping, it must be. Tomorrow stands with its toes at the edge of a volcano, pouring a red mess of life from its stomach into the earth's pit. If the day is not picked apart, first by the bills of louder birds, I will tear into it like bread. This is how the rhythm of the earth's core will continue beating. Yes, it must be this light in my hair or the moon's muted halo through which the stars swim like minnows in a bait shop tub. It must be the weight of my face in my hands or the weight of the body hanging from the meat hook, watching with hollow eyes, waiting for a slip of the blade to release it. Reflex. Fumble on the big screen, everyone up in arms. My daughter grasps my shirt while nursing and can't let go. Across the room, my mother applies chapstick without taking her eyes off the screen. It's Christmas. Everyone believes in miracles and wants to hold the baby. My grandmother sits at the table holding a doll. Behind her, a train slips through the snowy field carrying what? Time moves backwards on the field. Less than a minute left on the clock. My grandmother's lips barely close around the red spoonful of Jell-O with coconut. A marshmallow falls from the spoon in all its puffed up childhood ecstasy. The game is nearly over. Pins and needles. The tree is heavy with color and ornaments of beans and children's faces. My grandmother tightens her fingers around the hanky she has always held. Eventually, there is nothing left beneath the tree. Everyone kisses the baby. They each slip a finger into her palm, and she struggles to let them go. And I'll just do two more here. Just trying to find it. Man, I'm so bad at that like really casual in between poem chattering banter. I wish I was better at that. So I apologize that I just sit here scrolling through my book while you watch, trying to find my poem. Man, why can't I grab it? Do you hear the dog whining?
Yes.
Don't know what to do about that. I don't understand what they want. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Splendor. The worm writhing, tying its body into knots in the grass, the body tearing in half, the millipedes approaching. The millipedes taking over the living body of the worm, my sister who rinses the worm with water, unraveling the body as I watch. The millipedes still searching for their meal when I smear their bodies through the dirt with my shoe. I am disgusted and enthralled and in love. The baby grows too big for my womb. The flies are small enough to slip through the screen toward the light above the sink and fall into water around the faucet. The spider's full belly, its web in the window above the sink. The other spiders who nest on the ceiling, and my husband who kills them on my behalf. The heaviness of the spider as it scrambles to the last dry edge of toilet paper before the water pulls it under. The oats that once grew in a wet field that now rest in our bowls. My son in his 14th year, my daughter almost in her first. The difference between the moment of being and a moment of being, when there's a body and when there is none. All right, and then this will be my last one before circling back. Happen to find the barn empty. Thought yellow about corn, still green, grass still yellow, and the coop wall collapsed, facing east. Sun kept the eggs, not you. In the garden, morning glories. In the center, a cement calf painted Holstein, its gray nose crumbling. Your hands lit leaves in the backyard. The cat stretched in the ditch, whiskered the mouse toward no small burning. Thanks.